Let me start typing my phone number, call. How is everyone doing today? Good morning, T Miles and Shifazo from Tampa. I hope the hurricane didn't hit you too bad. Good morning, Murray Terry Yan. Sorry, guys, I'm like trying to type in my phone number in here. So multitasking. 751. There we go. Let me pin that. Okay. All right. So how's everyone doing today? Hi, Maria from Texas. If this is your first time tuning in, definitely leave a comment. Let me shout you out. Hi, Holken. Thank you. Leave a comment. Let me shout you out. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Today's really a frequently asked question day, so feel free to ask your questions, answer what I can. If you want to schedule, my name is Aisha Chidole, by the way. If you want to schedule a consultation, call me 407-995-6567. You can also send us a WhatsApp message 404-333-8751 for the information to schedule a consult. We've got an office in Atlanta and Orlando, but we represent clients all over the United States. So today, I just want to take your questions, so feel free to ask your questions. Good morning, YouTube, and good morning, Facebook. The phone number should be scrolling down through the ticker, so you should be able to see that. Instagram, you should be able to see this pinned. If you are joining in after this live, you can also just go to my profile, and our phone number should be on there. Okay? All right, let me answer some questions. So Sean Vendetta says, can a VAWA case take more than 26 months to process? Yeah. It can definitely take more than 26 months because most VAWA cases average 2 years to 2.5 years, which 2.5 years will put you at about 30 months. So you can definitely still be in the window, in 26 months. So 26 months wouldn't be a cause for panic. Actually, right now, the wait time on USCIS webpage is 30 months. So I wouldn't panic with 26 months. T-Miles says, good morning from City of Angels. Hey, it's super early for you. My question is, I got a prima facie. When do I get my EAD? I submitted everything all together. I submitted INR kick. I got my prima facie in June. I don't know if you're trying to say you submitted it in March. I don't know if that's a typo or what it is. But so, as I've talked about before, a prima facie is not attached to your work permit. Your work permit is attached to an adjustment of status, which is your I-485 petition. Your prima facie determination letter is a letter that you receive once they receive your I-360 and your supporting evidence to show that you're eligible to be classified as a VAWA victim. So the two do not work hand in hand, okay? If you submitted your petition in March was the third month of the year, and we are in the 10th month of the year, so about 7 months in, you should be receiving your work permit anytime from now, assuming you submitted your work permit with an adjustment of status and you selected the right category. One of the things you can do is you can do an inquiry through the VAWA unit through your lawyer, because you can't do it yourself. It has to be a licensed attorney to do the inquiry for you. But really, the window is 5 to 9 months. I mean, yeah, we've seen a lot of people get it right now in our office, like in 4.5 months, 5.5 months, 6 months. But still, when you are still in the processing window, they're not really going to see the urgency, or they're going to just tell you still within processing time. So hopefully it's just a matter of time for you. Hi, Mers Bay from Baltimore. So Queen Bee says, it's been 2 years and we haven't had an account together. Can I add him on mine? I haven't sent in my paperwork yet. What should I do? I mean, you should have things together as a couple. Now, if you don't have him, I'm assuming when you see your account, you're talking about your bank account. If you don't have him on your bank account, then you should at least have him on other things. that show that you and him are in a legitimate bona fide marriage. Of course, having a bank account is helpful. And, just as an FYI, you guys know that you can't just have a bank account that's just sitting down for decoration. Like, your bank account has to be active. It can't be dormant. Like, you got to use it. You got to put money in it. You got to spend in it to show that you're using it, and you didn't just create this account that's just kind of sitting there for immigration purposes. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have here before I go to Facebook. Okay, I'll come back to this particular question. Let me go to Facebook real quick. Joseph says, talk about VAWA and applicants that have been arrested, cases have been dismissed, or have a conviction and are applying for VAWA, asking for a friend. So, with VAWA, the requirement is that you have to show 3 years of good moral character, okay? It means that in the last 3 years, you have to show that you were a person of good moral character. Sometimes they can dig in further, but really what they're looking for is the last 3 years. When you have a case that's dismissed, typically, obviously, that's a good sign. If basically they're saying that you're not guilty, or there's not been any kind of adjudication of the case, or there's basically nothing to prosecute you on. And then as far as conviction, it will depend on what the crime is, basically. So without speaking to your friend, I can't say yes or no, this is going to be a problem, or no, it's not going to be a problem. So I would need to speak to your friend, and see what it is that they have to be able to say this might be a problem, especially if it was within the last 3 years. But a good rule of thumb is to think about things concerning good moral character. So if you cannot show they have good moral character, not good moral character, crimes of moral turpitude. So if you can show that whatever the crime is, it's not a crime of moral turpitude, you are in a better chance to pass the good character test. Okay, so Thompson says, good morning, ma'am. You're doing a great job. Thanks for your good words. Thank you. I submitted an I-751 petition to remove conditions of residence since August 2021. The processing time has passed. That's not possible. The processing time could not have passed, Thompson. Most conditional green cards take 2 years, which is why when you submit a conditional green card application, you're given a 2-year green card extension. The reason for that extension is because that is how long it's technically taken. Now, I say that's how long it's technically taken. There are always going to be people that get theirs earlier or people that get theirs later, but that is the average. Prior to last year, it used to be an 18-month extension because that's how long it was taking. Now it's 24 months. So for you, as long as you have that extension, you're fine. And if that extension expires, you can always go to schedule an info pass with the local USCIS office. Go in there, and they will stamp you with an added stamp. So that's like a 12-month green card extension, just so that you have something while you're waiting for your decision to be made. But you're still in normal processing time. It's only been 12, 13 months, so you're good. Okay. Adesha says, what document do you need to start the green card process? There's so many ways to petition for a green card. I can't go through a list of documents. But you can certainly do a Google search for whatever it is that you're looking for. But if you'd like us to help you, call us 407-995-6567. Okay, what does it mean, please, if you were not told it's approved or not, and the officer didn't issue the white paper also? So fresh edibles. I don't know what you're referring to. I don't know what interview you had, but majority of the times you're not going to be told that you're approved at an interview. Typically what happens is, you go to an interview, and then after the interview, officer can do like a recommendation, and then once the supervisor approves it, that's when they issue a decision. Sometimes it could be the same day, sometimes it could be the next day, sometimes it could be a week, sometimes it could be 2 weeks, sometimes it could be 6 months. After 6 months, then you always want to do some follow-up, because after 6 months of post-interview, there is some level of investigation being done. I haven't seen one that there isn't. Now, doing an investigation doesn't mean that you're going to get an RFE or you're going to get denied, but they are doing a level of investigation. I remember we had one client, same-sex couple. One was from a country where it's not like typical there, and the person was, previously married to an opposite sex at the time. And I thought it was a slam dunk case. But when we got there, everything went well. And that person didn't get approved on the spot. And the first month went, the second month went, the third month went. I was like, what is going on? And at maybe like 6.5 months before we could even do the inquiry, the person we actually did an inquiry. And then that was when the person got their approval letter. So sometimes that happens. Okay, let's see. What else we have? Chidima Usuji says, I'm seeing the processing time moved from 26 months to 30 months. How correct is this? I'm assuming you're talking about VAWA, and I just talked about this about 5 minutes ago. Yes, it is accurate, 2 years to 2.5 years. But again, guys, the processing time is just basically telling you what the average time is for most people. So basically, think of it this way: 80% of people are going to fall in that window. And then the other 20% are going to fall before or after. Like yesterday, I'm sure you guys saw the post I posted. We had a VAWA approval yesterday, and we submitted that person's petition in November of 2021. So that was 11 months. So that person is in the 20%. Because it's not the norm. There are more people that are going to be in the 2-year window. Let me even put it this way, more in the 18 months to 26 months. That to me is the biggest window of approvals that we see in this office. And then there are obviously going to be some people after. But there's a lot that goes into different people's applications. I know sometimes people are like, oh, my friends got this or mine, did you have an RFE? Was that an NOID? Did they ask for something else? Was it delaying your prima facie because you didn't meet all the requirements? All those things can change people's timelines. Imagine, you're on the front of the line and then they request additional evidence and they send it to you. They're going to keep moving until, you resurface back. So there's so many variables to it. Your key goal is to just focus on, as long as you're within processing time, you're okay. If you're outside of processing time, then that's when you want to take action and see what is going on with your case. Okay. Thompson on Facebook said, can one who is eligible apply for citizenship while having a pending I-751? Yes, if you're eligible for citizenship. A lot of people get this confused and end up going there, and then they approve them. Maybe they approve them for the I-751, and they can't approve them for the N-400 citizenship, and basically they lose their money, and then they have to apply again. So you have to make sure that you're eligible. Eligibility changes depending on if you're filing for removal that's joint with your spouse. You can basically get your green card, your citizenship. You're eligible to put in your application for citizenship if you have a conditional green card after 3 years of having it and after 3 years with your spouse, and stuff like that. If at that time they approve you for the removal of conditions, then they can conduct the interview and approve you for citizenship. You're also eligible in a case of abuse. That being said, if you're divorced, you have to wait 5 years to do it. So I missed the Beverly Hills lips, looking great. That's so funny. This is actually not Anastasia of Beverly Hills today. This is like Maybelline or something like that. Okay, let's see who else we have. Good morning. How long does it take usually to adjust status of parents once they're in the US? I'm a US citizen. It typically will take the same time as marriage, sometimes received quicker. If you're filing for a parent right now, that's like the one category that I always recommend just submitting a medical with the application if you can, because those are very easy for them to approve without an interview. So to quicken your process, just send a medical with it. And it can range anywhere from like 6 months to 15 months, anywhere in that window. All right. Shanique Lawrence says, hello, Aisha. I filed for VAWA 18 months ago. I still didn't get a prima facie determination letter. What do you think is the problem? Okay, actually, this is actually a very good question because we've seen a certain trend or pattern going on right now with the VAWA unit. We've had clients who we submitted their cases maybe like in January, and let's say in September, I was like, where the hell is the prima facie? We don't have a prima facie, and reached out to the officers of the VAWA unit. Come to find out that those clients had been approved for their prima facie since March, like 2 months after we filed, but it was never sent. Or we're seeing a lot of errors where like they're sending cases to other attorneys that are not on record. Like I've received like 2 receipts for clients that are not mine. And luckily I'm a good person and I know that to the other attorneys, that look, we got this for your client. So if it's been 18 months, there are only 2 things that are happening here. One, maybe it's been issued and it hasn't been sent, because by the 18th month, you should literally be on your second prima facie. So in that case, if they've issued it, you should have an attorney contact the VAWA hotline to confirm whether or not you received a prima facie. The other issue is that there is something in your application that is stopping you from getting the prima facie approval. But even if there's something in your application that's stopping you, you should still get an RFE specifically checking off what that issue is. So either way, the VAWA unit still needs to be contacted, and the one person that can contact them is an attorney, because that would help you get the RFE or get your prima facie if you already existed. Ray says, please answer this question, but what is the question? I don't see the question. Donut, hi Donut. Donut says, good morning. How long after VAWA is approved is an interview? I heard a year. It varies. Most times, I would say it's about 6 months, anywhere from 3 to 6 months. If after 6 months you haven't been scheduled for an interview, then we definitely want to make sure that your interview, your 485 is in the right field office, and remind them that, hello, we're still here. We're just checking in. When are we going to get our interview scheduled? Hi, Irma from Dominica. Okay, let's answer some Instagram questions. So this person says, for IR5 petition for parents, the application has been documentary qualified since July. I've not received an interview letter from the home consulate. Will you advise to switch from home consulate to another? No, there is a delay in a lot of consulates. I don't know what consulate you're referring to, but I mean, sometimes we literally see documentary qualified 12 months later and we're still waiting on an interview. You literally just have to keep emailing and emailing NVC and your local consulate office. Another attempt would be for congressional help or assistance in getting it. And then if all else fails, you can either threaten to sue DHS, the government, like what the heck is going on, or file an actual lawsuit. Okay. Good morning. I did my biometric for my VAWA. It's been 6 months. What next to expect? Please. The next thing well, did you do your, when you submitted your VAWA, did you apply for adjustment of status and a work permit? If you did, and you don't have a work permit, that's what you get next. If not, you'll be waiting. It's a long game. You'll be waiting for about 18 months, if you're lucky earlier, or 20 months, 24 months, to get a decision. Or you might also get an RFE depending on whatever it is that you submitted. So Murray Tyrian says, what if you only have a rental lease together because the spouse refuses to do anything else? That to me is a concern. And I suggest that you get screened to see if you qualify for VAWA. Because as somebody who's been married for a gazillion years, I find it odd where one spouse is not willing to do something that will help both spouses advance in life. Because, for instance, if myself and my husband, in order for both of us to have a better quality of life, or to give our children a better quality of life, means that he has to get a work permit, or I have to get a work permit so we can work. We both have to get a green card so we can be legal, and one person is not deported outside the country, or vice versa, then both of us will do the needful. And if that means getting things together to show that our relationship is in fact legitimate, they'll do it. But if you're having a spouse that's refusing to do anything with you to prove that your marriage is legitimate, and all you have is a rental lease, that to me is a big red flag of what's to come. Because you're not just going to cross one hurdle and think everything is going to just be gone. So he provides that stuff, and then the next stage, what happens in the next stage if you get an RFE? What happens in the next stage if you get an interview and he chooses to sabotage it? What happens when you have to do your second, let's say you have a conditional green card, and then you have to do removal of conditions. So it is a long game. So there's certain patterns of behavior that in the beginning are red flags. And guys, I understand that as people who truly and desperately want green cards, because you want to be legal, you want to move on with your life, you want to provide for your family, we allow ourselves to stay in these horrible relationships because we're trying to endure. Sometimes you have other options. That is why VAWA is there. If you have a spouse that's extremely cruel or abusive to you, that is what VAWA exists for. Apply for that if you qualify for that. Instead of putting yourself through the agony of a spouse that's horrible and mean to you because you're waiting it out, or because you're worried about the quickness of something. Okay? Hi, Omar. Omar says, my lawyer got the good info. Thanks for being so informative. Thank you. Listen to Omar. He knows what he's talking about. Okay, let's see what other questions we have. I have 4 minutes. Hi, great feet souls. No disrespect, your skin complexion is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. When I was growing up, I was so self-conscious about so many parts of my physical appearance. I look very different from my siblings. My siblings are very light-skinned, and people always used to be like, where did you come from? You don't look like your siblings. I was very, very self-conscious about it, but I love myself and everything else about me now, but I appreciate that. Shan Salad says, please speak on employment sponsorship, like the time period an employer is valid to sponsor you after your visa you've overstayed your visa. I don't handle employment-based immigration, so I don't want to talk about it. You probably need to reach an employment immigration attorney, and they'll be happy to help you. Everblood says, can you apply for public benefits even if I don't get a prima facie determination letter? I mean, it depends. It just really depends on your state. Your state is, every state is different in how they handle public benefits and what the requirements are. So you would have to find out from your state. And it also depends on Like, what kind of public benefit are you seeking? Nurse Bay said, I submitted bank statements without a lot of activity. Since then, we've been contributing and using the account more frequently. Do you recommend uploading new statements to the USCIS account? No, what I recommend is that you take those things with you to the interview. So, similar to us that have, like if you're applying for, let's say, your bar license as a lawyer, or as a JD, you have to, throughout it takes months and months before you can be sworn and, to become like an attorney. And what your application is considered continued. There's a continuity of application, meaning as circumstances change and as things change, you need to acquire and inform. In your case, all of those things, continue to gather them and take all of them with you to the interview. So when you get to the interview and they say, oh, we have this, but we don't really see anything there. Said, do you have anything else to give me? It's like, yep, here you go. More bank statements. Here you go. Our lease. Here you go. Our baby's birth certificate. Here you go. Our cell phone bill. Here you go. Our car insurance. Here you go. Our health insurance. Just whatever it is. So when you submit your application is not when you should stop acquiring things with your spouse. You want to continue to acquire things so that, and you want to acquire them organically like any normal person. Like you don't go like one day and say, okay, I'm going to open all those things all on the same day, and you don't want to do that like after you get an RFE or something, because then it's going to be like, oh, you got an RFE, all of a sudden you want to get these things. So just continue to acquire those things organically like you have and take it with you to the interview. Okay, guys. Oh, I can't take that question. I got to jump off. It was nice chatting with you guys. Let me check my schedule on Wednesday so I can tell you if I can make it tomorrow. Let's see. I might not be able to make it tomorrow morning, but if I do tomorrow morning, I'm going to come on around like 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just put your reminder just in case I come on live. And then you can ask the rest of your questions. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye.